Hey, vegan freaks out there on the internets. It is the 20th of November, 2006. This is Vegan Freak Radio, number 53.
Whoops. Hey, everybody, it's Jenna.
And Bob, slider stuck there. I don't know what happened. So anyway.
We're back for another Vegan Freak Radio.
That's right.
And it's been a while.
It's been a couple weeks. We've been busy.
Yes, we've been busy. And it's been a long time since we've done a show without, it's just like not just an all-in interview.
Yeah, that's true. We did.
So we have a lot of catching up to do.
We do. But we're going to try not to make the show too long. We'll catch up gradually over the next couple weeks, I think. So we've got a lot of things we want to do today on the show. Let's just hop right into it.
Just do it.
Yeah, man.
Long time ago, Nicole H. from Australia sent us some Australian cookies.
They were really good.
They were really good. So
they were really good.
I don't think we ever thanked her, so we need to thank her for sending us cookies. That
Absolutely.
The guy at the post office was like, cookies from Australia. You want to share these? So we almost didn't get them.
Yeah, really. But, they went in my belly real fast.
Yeah.
They were really good, so thank you.
Yeah.
I wish we could get those here.
I know.
They were delicious.
Yes.
Another thing we have going on, we have a run of T-shirts going.
Yes, finally. People have been asking about this for a while now, and we finally got our act together and got design thanks to...
Amphibian.
There you go.
Amphibian. Amphibian Design, I think they're amphibian.info. They help us out with the design.
Mm-hmm. So watch for our site for an announcement about when the T-shirts will be available. We're hopefully getting this week, but maybe not because of the holiday, so who knows?
Yeah, we'll probably get them this week, though.
Okay.
And the other thing is that subscribers will get first dibs on these.
Yes.
At a discounted price.
Discount.
So the subscribers will get them first, and if other people, if there are any left over, we'll sell the rest to other folks, too.
Yes, but then we will do another run, too.
Yeah,
if these sell, so.
Yeah, the first run, if they sell, will go out to the subscribers, first and foremost. So anyway, keep your eyes peeled for that. Subscribers will send you an email about it or post in the podcast feed about it and let you know. And the rest of you, maybe not. No, we will print more. Yeah. But I have a feeling that the number we've printed will probably go through subscribers pretty fast. So anyway, enough about that. Right. I wanted to talk about something. I was at dinner and I was thinking about you. Not you, Jenna, you. I was thinking about you, our listeners, our lovely people out there who devote some time during their week to listening to our crazy show. And I was at dinner at this dinner on campus where I work, and it was like a dinner for an honorary society, and it was a nice dinner. What basically what it is an induction into this kind of honorary society, and each of the students that is in the society gets to invite a professor of their choice. And believe it or not, someone actually chose to invite me as their professor of choice, right? I know, hard to believe that anyone would actually like me, but indeed, a student did invite me. And I usually don't like to go to things like this, but I feel like if a student sees fit enough to ask me to do that, I usually will do it because it's important to the student, and I respect that. So cutting to the chase, she was kind enough to make sure that there was a vegan meal for me, and there was really decent vegan food, which is cool because the dining staff at our university, in the dining halls, the vegan food's not so hot, but when they have these different functions, usually they do a nice job. So I had a nice vegan stew and some brown rice and some roasted vegetables. It was really good. But when I was sitting at the table, I was thinking about you, freakies out there in freak land on the internets using the Google. I'll talk about that in a second. I was thinking about you because I was at the table and I felt very alone in a way. I felt very alone in a way because I was at this table of probably 10 people and we were having polite conversation. And I was having a hard time having polite conversation because there were these people there and they were just eating chicken. And I don't know, maybe I'm just like way too into my own little vegan world and I don't eat around meat eaters enough. But maybe it's just like the distance I have from it. It kind of grossed me out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I was sitting there watching them dig into these chickens, and pick the meat, the tendons. Like I could see the muscle that they were pulling off of the bone of the chicken. And it looked disgusting to me. And all I could think was that, man, that was a something at one point. it was disgusting to me, and it was making me feel a little, I don't know. I had the howling fantods, but I couldn't do anything.
You mean someone?
Oh, yeah.
You said something.
Oh, fuck. I should go back and edit that, lest I get the 8,000 emails. No, they were treating it like a something, but it was a someone.
Yes.
So don't send me nasty emails. But anyway, it was just really weird. It really grossed me out, and I was thinking, man, I wish it weren't like this. And I was thinking about how I wanted to share that story with you, because only vegans can get that. Mm-hmm. Anybody else who's not vegan thinks I'm a complete fucking weirdo, mm-hmm. right? There are people out there right now who are not vegan who are listening to the show. And they're probably like, oh, you're so weird. You're living your own little fantasy world, and you've got your own little thing going on. I'm the Nazi food police and all that, they probably think. But no, it's just a simple fact of like, had they been eating a human finger, I would have felt almost a similar revulsion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's nasty. Plus, you and I don't go out to dinner all that much. We don't ever see it. We don't live with any omnis. We live, just us and the dogs and the cat. And so we never see it.
Yeah.
So I think it's even more shocking than when you are exposed to it.
It's true.
But it's gross. And I know people who aren't vegans also don't understand that it smells bad.
Yeah, it does.
Like today we were in the store and there's like these rotisserie chickens, and the bread that I wanted was right next to this stand.
That's why I walked away.
I was like, oh my God, I need to read the ingredients to make sure it's vegan, but I don't want to stand here. So,
well, that's why I walked away from that. Remember, I walked and went and did some other shopping because I couldn't stand to be near the chickens and the rotisserie.
So, yeah.
So it's a shift in perception that some of you out there may not get, because I know we have a lot of listeners who are not entirely vegan. Mm-hmm. And if you're not vegan, you should be vegan, because it's not cool to be not vegan. So you should be vegan if you're not vegan. But yeah, anyway, I wanted to share that with you because I know that some of you probably are in a similar place. Mm-hmm. But speaking of disturbing things.
Yes.
Speaking of disturbing consumption.
Yeah. So since we haven't had a regular podcast in a long time, we're sort of catching up on things. And this is from something we saw before Halloween even. It's been that long. And we were watching TV in our hotel. And so, we were before... I think we've mentioned this, that, when we go to hotels, we watch things we never, ever watch. And so we were watching the Martha Stewart show because, well, there's nothing on. And we were flipping through the channels. And there it was. And this woman came on who had designed these Halloween costumes for babies. Okay?
They were weird.
They were bizarre. She dressed up her baby in a roasted turkey outfit and put the baby like even on a big platter and put it on the table.
Yep.
And so, I mean, it looks like a real roasted turkey. And
like a real roasted baby.
It's like roasted baby on the table and this turkey, and it was bizarrely disturbing.
It really was.
How could you possibly think that is cute?
I don't know. But I got to insert the requisite free-range baby joke here.
I know.
I mean, I would eat babies if they were free-range babies. I'm surprised, Peter Singer hasn't come out in favor of free-range babies, just like he's in favor of eating, compassionate eating of meat. Why not compassionate eating of free-range babies?
Yeah, babies don't know anything about the future.
They actually don't.
So, just like animals.
Can babies be said to be subject of a life?
Do they recognize themselves in a mirror?
So therefore, we should just eat infants.
Right. Mm. I mean, these are all the arguments that people use for eating animals because they're somehow lesser of, sentient creatures than us. So babies fall in a lot of those same categories.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to see one of our co-ops now, add humane babies to the meat case. But anyway, get back to your Martha Stewart story.
No, it was just, that's pretty much it. It was just so bizarre that people think like, I was just watching this like, do people really think this is something that you would do? Like stick your baby in a roast turkey outfit and like cook it on the table? It's bizarre.
Okay, well, it was so weird though because they put the baby in this costume and they put it on the table with the food at Thanksgiving. Yeah. That's like what she said she did the previous year. Yeah. That's freaky to me.
Yes.
It's like, well, here's the turkey, and here's the cranberry, and here's the mashed potatoes, and here's the baby.
I know. Mm. Yeah. I don't know. It was weird. Well, I'll put a link up to the picture. They have a picture on how to make one of these costumes on the website.
Yeah, so make sure you put the link up in the show notes.
I will.
You should really go look. This is freaky. It kind of freaked me out.
Yeah.
And, I think it's okay to eat babies. I mean, why not?
Bizarre. Speaking of
vegan.
Yeah.
Hot vegan.
Hot vegan. Speaking of hot vegan, we were also, visiting various co-ops on our travels. Mm-hmm. the past couple months, and we went to the co-op that we used to go to in Ithaca, which is Green Star, and which is an awesome place.
It's a good co-op.
They have tons of stuff. It's big, and yet it's not like overwhelming, and they have they're great. And when we were left, they had this thing about deciding on voting on is where I'm getting at. Okay,
on having meat,
or not selling meat in the store. It passed, of course.
Of course.
But now it used to be all sort of tucked away in the freezer.
Yeah, a little like below. You couldn't really find it too easily.
Yeah, but now they have this huge display case, free refrigerated display case of free range local meat, and it was never there before.
Nope.
Never there. And
it's
it's like
fresh.
right
It's
there,
not
fresh,
frozen.
right out in the
Yeah.
open, like right next to, the milk case.
It's disgusting.
It was disturbing to me.
Yep.
I mean, not only now are they selling meat, they're getting more meat.
Yeah. Well, that's because of the kinds of activism that's being done now. This whole idea of being a conscientious omnivore is being promoted by these organizations that are supposedly in the business of telling us not to eat meat. Mm-hmm. Whoa, what? And this is why I think it's actually all of it is not working, because everywhere I look, I see signs that people who
Yes.
otherwise might give it up are being given alternatives to eat meat. You know what I mean?
Right.
No, they're being given alternatives which are meat.
Right.
So-
because it makes them feel less guilty.
Exactly.
And they're like, oh, well, I can still eat meat and not feel guilty about it.
Exactly.
Perfect. That's
And like
wonderful.
at our co-op, too.
Yes. Yeah. They have this thing where you can write for recommendations, a little book. And, we've actually eaten stuff before. It's so wonderful. They've got tofuti slices and everything. Anyway, someone had written in the book, can you please get more local free-range, humanely raised meat?
I hesitate to say what I wrote underneath it because I know we have local listeners.
Yeah.
But I wrote, yes, but it still dies.
Yeah.
Which it does.
Mm-hmm. But it's disturbing because our co-op is nowhere by any means a vegetarian co-op, but
No.
the meat is still in the, tucked away, frozen. You can barely find it.
Yeah.
It's in this little section, so it's not so bad.
I like it that way.
Yes.
But I have a feeling that given the push that everybody has, Colleen Patrick, I hesitate to say her last name because I say it wrong all the time. G. Colleen PG.
There you go.
Over at Compassionate Cook, she has a podcast where she talks about this kind of impetus that people have, for the humanely raised, conscious meat and all this other crap. And she's really good at talking about that. And she did it on our show a couple weeks ago. She laid it down where she said, look, it's just people want this stuff and there's going to be a market for it. And that's the way. And she talks about this over and over again on her show.
I know. Which segues pretty nicely into this little thing. I was reading Time magazine not too long ago, and they have this section on Best Inventions 2006. And this one's called The Future of Food. And it's got this picture of a chef holding a lobster. It says, you already drink organic milk, buy free-range chicken, and shun foie gras.
Hippie.
Yep. But have you assessed your seafood eating habits? After watching a lobster thrash about as it was boiled alive at a grocery store, a British barrister devised a kinder way to kill crustaceans. His crustastun electrocutes them with a 110-volt shock, dispatching them in about 5 seconds versus the 2 minutes it takes in hot water. A commercial version is already being used by a pair of seafood wholesalers in Britain. A smaller home version, measuring about 1.5 feet in width and depth, will be out by year's end for only $4,740. Yeah. So, most of us, I think, visceral reaction to seeing a lobster suffer being boiled alive for 2 minutes would be like,
oh my God,
maybe I shouldn't eat
lobster.
that.
Oh.
Let's find a better way to kill them so I can still eat them. It's so ridiculous.
But that's the impulse these days. The impulse is to create ways around our conscience.
It is, and it's ridiculous. And yet, all these problems still arise from animal agriculture that is totally ignored by all these welfare arguments, and it totally drives me nuts because it's still bad for the environment, it's still bad for the animals, and it's still bad for humans.
But it's not as bad, right? So that's the argument. It's not as bad for the environment. It's not as bad for humans. It's not as bad for animals.
Well, meat is still bad for you.
Well, yeah, but
For
it's
your
not as
health.
It's not as bad for you if you're not eating it pumped up with hormones and all that crap, right?
Okay, it's still bad for the environment because free range actually does more free erosion.
Well, it's not as bad because you don't have those big ponds of shit.
All right, okay, so
And it's not as bad for the animal, right?
they
Supposedly.
still suffer and die.
Of course they do.
Yeah.
What I think it does is it forestalls. But I don't want the show to be I don't want the show to be like, anti-welfare, vegan freak radio. Because we're more than that. We are more than that.
We are more than that because we just want you to become vegan. That's our thing.
We do.
Yeah. And of course, one of the best inventions 2006 was that hypoallergenic cat that we were talking about a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
Ugh. It's not an invention. It's an animal.
Can we do something a little more lighthearted?
Right.
I saw this video the other day. I just had to play it on the show.
Okay.
All right, you ready?
I'm curious. Have you ever Googled anybody? Do you use Google?
Occasionally. And one of the things I've used on the Google is to pull up maps.
The Google.
It's very interesting to see. I forgot the name of the program, but where you get the satellite and you can, I kind of like to look at the ranch on Google to remind me of where I want to be sometimes.
The reporter was laughing at him. I like to look
at the ranch.
I like the pretty pictures. Yeah. When Mommy says I can look at the pictures, it's really neat. And Condi comes in and we play coloring book too. And then sometimes she wants to touch my pee-pee, but I tell her no. Bad Condi, don't touch my wee-wee. I mean, come on.
I know.
The Google.
Hey, at least he knows how to use a computer. You're impressive enough. Okay, I'm assuming that he does it.
He's a Mac user.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
Not that that should say anything about Mac users.
I bet I hope not.
Because we are a alternative platform house.
We are.
We're running on Mac and Linux here. Mm-hmm. We do have a copy of Windows, but we don't use it.
We use it for one thing.
Yeah, we do.
On the Mac. We use the Windows on the Mac.
Yeah, that's true.
For our GPS thingy.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway.
So that was Bush, in case you couldn't tell by the Google and the idiotic language. And, the Republican Party lost heartily 2 weeks ago, last week. When was that? I don't know. 2 weeks ago.
Couple weeks ago.
And people are assuming that the Democrats are going to be better. They won't be as bad. They like to whisper.
If it's like humane meat, they won't be as bad.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. The way I always think about it is like the Republicans are going to screw you hard and tell you, yeah, you deserve it, bitch. And the Democrats are going to be like, oh, yeah, baby, yeah.
At least they'll use lube.
They're going to be a little nicer to you. Yes, baby. Yeah, we're going to do it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I thought last week, I thought maybe we'll be a little cleaner this week on the show.
No.
We're not that bad, though. Shit. I mean, first off, if you ever listen to the Dawn and Drew show, which I haven't listened to in like a year, but they're way worse, number one. Mm-hmm. And, we used to know Drew before he became famous.
It's true.
But anyway, Dawn and Drew show, they're much worse.
They're a lot worse out there.
They're way worse out there. Way worse. All right, so let's move away from the Google and the internets and talk about a couple other things here. Okay. We had some articles we want to talk about, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay.
I'm going to drink tea.
Okay, you drink tea. Surprised to see in our local, very conservative paper on the front page on Tuesday, November 14th, big article, headline, breast cancer risk tied to meat. I was like absolutely shocked to see that on our front page paper.
It's surprising given our paper.
Yeah, and the fact that it's out there at all. So basically, the whole thing is that eating, and then it goes to say eating red meat, but I was happy to see at least eating meat just in the title, may raise a woman's risk of a common type of breast cancer, and vitamin supplements will do little, if anything, to protect her heart. So basically, you can't just, eat meat and then take a lot of vitamins and hope that you'll get your antioxidants
right.
that way. You have to eat vegetables.
No!
So, yeah. But, we could have told you that. Anybody who's studied vegan nutrition knows that meat is not good for you.
But of course it's not. Mm-mm. Everybody knows that meat is not good for you.
Right. So that's all I wanted to say about that.
Okay, good. Also, you had an article.
Oh, right. You want me to do that now? Okay.
Well, this is the order you have it in.
Okay, you're right. It does. All right. This other thing was from November 6th, a while ago, about Hannaford Grocers. There's actually a chain we have up here. The chain Hannaford Brothers developed a system called Guiding Stars that rated the nutritional value of nearly all the food and drinks in its store from 0 to 3 stars. Of the 27,000 products that were plugged into Hannaford's formula, 77% received no stars, including many, if not most, of the processed foods that advertise themselves as good for you. These included V8 vegetable juice, too much sodium, Campbell's Healthy Request tomato soup, ditto, most lean cuisine and healthy choice frozen dinners,
well,
ditto,
no surprise there.
and nearly all yogurt with fruit, too much sugar. Whole milk, too much fat, no stars. Predictably, most fruits and vegetables did earn 3 stars, as did things like salmon, boo, and post-grape nut cereal. At a time when more and more products are being marketed as healthy, the fact that so many items seem to flunk Hannaford's inspection raises questions about the integrity of the nutrition claims, which are regulated by the Food and Drug Administration, or possibly about whether Hannaford made its standards too prissy or draconian. Either way, the results do seem to confirm the nagging feeling that the benefits promoted by many products have a lot more to do with marketing than nutrition. So what I thought was interesting about this is, A, that, it really shows you that most processed foods are bad for you.
Absolutely.
And B, that, if you want to eat really healthy, vegetables are the way to go. But I also wanted to bring up this article because of their way that they characterize, quote-unquote healthy food. And, of course, all the companies are really pissed off at this because... they're like, we don't like, this is the Campbell Soup Company, we don't like the idea that there are good and bad foods out there, and these sort of arbitrary rating systems, says John Faulkner, director Director of Brand Communication at the Campbell Soup Company.
Director of Brand Communications.
Yeah.
That's something you see on a business card.
I know. A product like V8, which says it has essential antioxidants and vitamin-rich, is like drinking a vitamin with a lot of salt on it, apparently. But it goes on to say... that the thing that they use...
the rating system?
Yeah, the algorithm evaluates 100-calorie serving of each product using only the information that is available on the nutrition facts panel and the ingredients list. A product receives credit for vitamins, minerals, dietary fiber, and whole grains, but is docked points for trans fat, saturated fat, cholesterol, added salt, and added sugar. Okay. People who choose to adhere closely to the Hannaford ratings will have Spartan diets indeed.
Spartan diet.
Yeah. Not only did cookies and potato chips rate poorly, but so did whole milk, although skim milk received 3 stars, boo. And products with nourishing-sounding names like Healthy Choice old-fashioned chicken noodle soup. Indeed, the 3-star lunches and snacks recommended on Hannaford's website probably bear little relation to the meals most Americans are accustomed to eating. Hannaford suggests snacking on grapes, apple slices, raisins, plain yogurt, celery sticks, carrots, and 1 to 2 ounces of popcorn, presumably without salt.
I thought you were going to say pot.
Yeah.
Snacking on 1 to 2 ounces of pot.
That's a lot. Presumably without salt. A good lunch would be grilled chicken on a bed of spinach with a multi-grain roll and an apple. I mean, besides the chicken and the yogurt part.
Right.
Yeah, of course that sounds good, but they're mocking it as the Spartan diet that no one would eat. Actually, there are a lot of us out there that eat like that. And you know what? We're healthy.
You talk about it like we eat like that.
Well, okay, no, I don't even eat that healthy because I'm into the potato chips and...
We don't eat that many potato chips.
But, I mean, it is true, and it says that most Americans don't eat like that.
Right.
But there's nothing wrong with eating like that. It's great that they eat like that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, and then somebody else says, who says this? Somebody that tracks the food industry. Look at all those super duper healthy products that are in those healthy food stores. They don't taste good. I mean, come on, people. I was just reading in a McDougall book, one of his healthy plans for eating, and he basically says that, look, you can grow to like foods that you never liked before if you actually give them a chance. Like, don't just eat them and spit them out. Try them.
You got to
try
actually
them
try
different ways.
Yeah.
So it's all for your health. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I actually people underappreciate how good vegetables can taste if you don't boil them to complete, utter, and total death.
Yes.
And drown them in stupid animal fat.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think people forget that, and I think it's worth reconnecting with your vegetable friends.
I agree.
It's time to reconnect with our vegetable friends. There was a joke there, but I didn't make it. I get enough nasty email. It was going to be anyway,
I think people's imaginations, shapes certain vegetables, maybe.
Oh yeah, I was going a different way with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, actually, I was thinking. Well, anyway,
go ahead.
It.
Right.
No, I'm not even going to do. I'm not even going to do it.
Okay.
Because I don't want to be called ableist. I don't want to be called un-PC. I don't want to get the nasty emails.
Yeah, good idea.
Right?
Okay, just do your next thing.
I just want to go back and apologize to anyone I may have offended with my remarks. Okay, sometimes, one of the side effects of doing a radio show like this that is often unscripted is that sometimes things come out from my subconscious that shouldn't be there, and I recognize that they are in fact part of an oppressive society, and that I should shake those things off. Everyone happy now? Okay, good.
Okay, good.
Let's move on.
Speaking of oppressive society.
The Animal Enterprise Terrorism Act passed this week. Will Potter, who we had on the show several weeks ago to talk about this, has done some excellent analysis on his blog, which is Green is the New Red. And you can find that on the Google, because I can't remember if it's .com or .org. I think it's .com. Green is the New Red. He did some really nice analysis of this, but he has an article there that came out right after it passed, and he said, they did it. Corporations, industry groups, and the politicians that represent them rushed through legislation labeling activists as terrorists on the first day back from congressional recess. Just moments ago, the House passed the Animal Enterprise Terrorism Act as part of the suspension calendar. In other words, it was put on a list of non-controversial bills to pass with one swoop by voice vote. And that's November 13th that happened. So he talks about how there was really not a whole lot of debate on the House floor, and how really only Representative Dennis Kucinich spoke up against the legislation. Kucinich said this bill was written to have a chilling effect on a specific type of protest. He also said that we have to be very careful of painting everyone with a broad brush of terrorism. And in an interesting spin on the debate, Kucinich said lawmakers would be better off addressing animal issues and demonstrating their compassion.
Wow. Hooray for Dennis Kucinich.
Yeah, man. Well, he's a vegan.
I know.
He's one of them vegans.
Yeah.
He also raised what's essentially a very conservative argument about the bill preempting existing law. A section of the bill says it shall not be construed, 3, to provide exclusive criminal penalties or civil remedies with respect to conduct prohibited by this action, or to preempt state or local laws that may provide such penalties or remedies. Kucinich noted that that's precisely what the bill does. It provides exclusive penalties based on the beliefs of those who are accused. Kucinich got in a little back and forth with James Sensenbrenner about the bill, with Sensenbrenner repeatedly citing a provision of the bill that exempts First Amendment activity. And it says here, thank you to Sensenbrenner and our patriotic members of Congress for reminding us that there is still a First Amendment. However, saying this is constitutional does not make it so. If anything, it's an admission that the bill has serious flaws. At one point, Sensenbrenner read off a list of quotes from animal activists that he said exemplified the targets of the legislation. It was the same tired old list of quotes from the mid-'90s and from a fairly recent congressional hearing. Kucinich promptly noted that the quotes were exactly that, constitutionally protected speech. It's misleading, he said, to say the bill exempts First Amendment activity, then use First Amendment activity as an example of why the bill is needed. You see the little hook there going on, right? I mean, it says, this bill is not meant to impact First Amendment activity, and then the guy comes out and uses all of these examples of protected First Amendment speech to argue what the problems are. I mean, it's fucked up, right? But perhaps the most disturbing segment of this whole scaremongering debacle was when Sensenbrenner ended his comments and ended the floor debate by talking about the American Civil Liberties Union. He said the ACLU is the guardian of the First Amendment. He said the ACLU has a proud history of being a constitutional watchdog. And he said he has a letter from the ACLU saying that they would not oppose the legislation, had no substantial concerns, essentially giving the Green Scare a green light. That's from Will Potter's blog, greenisthenewred.com. You know, I give mad props to Satya for trying, right? In their Thanksgiving issue in November, they had this a guest editorial by Will, where we were supposed to come out and tell Congress that urgent action is needed to put this legislation down. And there's a whole list of sponsoring organizations. We are among them. So, unfortunately, it went through. So, I think now we'll see what happens with it. But my sense of what will happen with this legislation is that, I know some of you out there are probably thinking, well, I don't do any kind of violent activism. I'm not involved in any direct action. I'm not involved in any kind of thing, anything to be even remotely considered militant. But I don't think that that's something that is really an issue, right? I think this is legislation that could be used to target anyone who is effective.
Yes.
That's the thing. I think it depends on efficacy. So the more effective you are, even if your activism is completely peaceful, I feel like there's a potential that if you can be shown to have caused significant economic damage to a particular industry, you could potentially get into shit for this legislation.
I mean, even things like leafleting. I mean, it is written so broadly that it could cover leafleting. I mean, if you are so effective that you get people to stop going to buy fur, then what's going to happen? Who knows? Well,
it's a very broad piece of legislation. I think it will. I think how it gets dealt. I think Sorry, I'm having brain farts. Brain farts. I think how it'll end up actually coming into existence, or how I can't speak correctly.
You okay?
I think I think a couple cases will be used as test cases to run this thing through, and I think we could see the kind of thing being done with this that was done with the shack in some ways. So, although I suspect that other groups may end up using it as well, so or having it used against them as well. But one thing we don't have to worry about is that most of the modern animal rights movement is so ineffective that we don't have to worry about this being applied to them, because they're basically friends of Whole Foods who are promoting the consumption of animals. So
true, it doesn't
be accused.
Matter.
They can't be accused of actually impeding the progress of animal agriculture, right?
That's true. But I guess this is what happens when majority of the Congress are in districts where agriculture is big money, and so they're going to be pressured to sign this kind of thing. So,
of course,
it's disgusting.
Well, and of course, has the word terrorism in it, and who's not going to? Well,
Yeah.
Who's for terrorism?
Right. Yeah, they set up this debate. The way they set it up is just, you can't be for terrorism.
Exactly. It's like, you're either... fuck it. You know what I'm saying.
Yep.
So, anyway, that's enough of our rambling. We've given you 30 minutes of our unedited commentary. Potentially problematic, unedited commentary. We've probably already lost a lot of listeners. We're probably hemorrhaging listeners at this point. Between insulting welfarism, the modern animal rights movement, and people with disabilities. So we've probably lost most of our audience by now, but that's okay. You'll be back.
Yes.
We'll stop being so rude.
But
so what are we doing now?
Voicemails.
Time once again for some vegan freak voicemail. Maybe we'll hear from a hot chick
or a choice male.
Callers make us happy and help us keep our sanity, even if all they wanna do is fucking complain about the shitload of profanity.
Hey Bob and Jenna, it's Jeffrey Kleinman from DVD Talk Radio, and just wanted to call and say I'm continuing to watch or listen to the podcast and really enjoying it. And a couple of things. First of all, I listened to episode 49, Driving from Portland to Bend. And although it was a little rambling, I actually liked that. I liked listening to it. Kept me company for a long time, but really enjoyed it. But one of the reasons why I'm calling is I was at a Bend Film Fest, and there was a conservation category, and only 2 entries in the whole category. And it kind of got me thinking that people who are looking at expressing themselves and their opinions and views about being vegan and ethical treatment of animals should be picking up cameras and shooting documentaries and shooting short films and submitting them to film fests and getting them out there. It still is an area, I think, that is protected by some form of free speech. So I don't know of anybody who's been labeled a terrorist yet for picking up a camera. Who knows what the future might hold. Also in that space, there is a documentary coming out, or actually that is out from HBO on DVD now, called Dealing Dogs, that people should get the word out on. It was on HBO, but now it's on DVD, and it's a pretty heartwarming look at the way that dogs are treated who are destined for testing. It's really kind of sad movie. In any case, just want to call and say hi and say love the podcast, and hope you guys keep it up. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks.
He's been listening for a long time.
Yes, he has been.
It's impressive that he still listens.
I know.
Maybe after today's show he won't. Maybe I've offended some of his sensibilities. But if I haven't offended him yet, I probably won't.
True.
But excellent point on the film festival, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we were always talking about new and creative ways to do activism, in the ways that help promote what you're good at.
That's right.
And that's one of them. And depending on what you do, it's not quite illegal yet, I don't think.
I don't think so.
No trespassing, though.
Yeah.
That is now terrorism. Absolutely.
Well, I mean, and look at the Wegmans video, right?
Yeah,
The Adam Duran, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah. He got like 6 months for that, for trespassing for that video, and it's intense. Also, Dealing Dogs, he mentioned.
Yes.
It's an incredibly good film, but hard to watch, too. Hard to watch, but also there's a glimmer of hope at the end. So it's difficult. Parts of it are difficult to watch, but it's also got a little uplifting message.
Good. Well, it's good to know it's on DVD now.
Absolutely. So people should check that out, and you should also check out his site.
Yes.
So there you go. We move on to the next one. You have anything else? Okay.
Hi, Bob and Jenna. It's Jeff in Toronto. I wanted to say I just listened to your interview with Gary Francione. And I just wanted to say I was absolutely bowled over. I just had to call back and tell you that I was so appreciative and thankful and respectful of such a rational and eloquent delivery that this man had, and it in so many ways it further clarified my understanding of the abolitionist movement and the strengths, in my view, the strengths of it over the welfarists. I made a couple of notes here. I'm just trying to follow what I wrote with regards to his comments about the abolitionist vegan movement being a peaceful, or moreover a peace movement, or I believe he said a logical next step in the peace movement. I thought that was very telling, in the sense that especially in these days now of the Animal Business Terrorism Act that's come out, and the implications of that. I think it is important to stress that what we as abolitionists and vegans fight for is a peaceful transition. It brings to mind a remark that was made towards the end of last year's horrific seal slaughter in Canada, where I live. The Minister of Fisheries and Oceans, Loyola Hearn, was suggesting that if we listened to these animal activists, they'd have us they'd be attacking our meat production systems in this country altogether. That somehow the protest against the seal slaughter was just a ploy to attack meat production altogether. Well, yes, unfortunately, that's what this is all about, and for all of these organizations that Francione was citing as problematic because they are dealing with the welfarists or dealing with the industry, is sad in a way, because I know that I'm sure that their final end or last hope is to end all meat production and all meat consumption. It's just that they're trying to do it slowly. And I just wanted to say I totally agree and support the concept that veganism is really the most important and most highly impactful way for an individual to help the lives of all animals. And I really thank Mr. Francione for his enlightenment on that subject. Anyway, thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Jeff. Well, I'm glad you liked the interview with Gary Francione. I actually think it's one of our better shows ever, personally. I'm very proud of that show, even though I didn't do much.
I was going to say, no, not because of us, but because of Gary.
Yeah. But he has offered to come back and do a part 2.
Yes, and we will take him up on that.
We absolutely will. And he's also offered to answer some questions. So if you have questions or points for him, let us know. And we will make sure that he gets those. And when we do a part 2, we'll ask him those things right in the air. Or, some of them. We aren't going to ask all of them. But if you have questions for him, that's cool. Certainly his interview generated some small controversy because he said some things that some people found quite problematic. In a lot of ways. Some people found the comparison to rape problematic. Some people found his statements at the end about the peace movement problematic. There's a lot there. So the interview was, I think, very, very densely packed with information that's relevant to understanding the movement. And I really appreciate a lot of what Jeff had to say. I think he's absolutely right. It is really about, I think, living abolition in your everyday life, and veganism is the quickest route to that.
It is, indeed. And to show that animals, not to reify the position that animals are ours to use and slaughter and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. And so the symbolic content of what we do matters as well. It isn't just the impact of what we do, but the symbolic content. I mean, because veganism is essentially a consumptionist boycott, right? You're boycotting a particular industry, and you're boycotting what you see as the effects of that industry. But it also has symbolic content that makes it more than just the boycott. And that symbolic content is really important because if you look at the history of new social movements throughout time, social movements have struggled, and they haven't always made concrete impacts in the day-to-day, understanding of life. They haven't always made impacts right away in the material existence of lives at the moment that they happen, right? What they have done, however, is down the road, they've changed the way people have viewed particular others, different people in different categories. And that change has meant long-term change, could have meant long-term change for some groups. And I think the same thing can happen with veganism in a way that it in terms of immediately having an impact, it does. You aren't consuming animals, but on the other hand, it also sends a message that you are someone who is objecting to that particular form of objectification. Am I making any sense?
Yes.
Okay. So I think that's why veganism really counts, and that's why I think veganism has to be the front and center of what we do.
I agree.
And Jeff has a blog, too. I can't remember the address, though, off the top of my head. He didn't mention the
No, he
voicemail?
didn't.
Well, we'll try to find that and put it in the show notes. But he's been listening to the show also for a very long time.
Yep.
And it's nice to hear from him. So, Let's see. Another one. I think.
Hey, Vegan Freaks. It's Nicole H. down in Australia. Congratulations on 50 shows. That's really, really awesome. I've been enjoying the recent ones, and I just caught up on the last couple. I'm holidaying in Melbourne at the moment. Nice pronunciation on Melbourne as well. I hear a lot of people from North America saying Melbourne, but it's definitely
that was pretty good.
And so, yeah, I've been hanging out down here, catching up on the podcasts, and it's been good. So I just wanted to call in and have a little bit of a chat. Actually, it's kind of relevant about veganism and traveling. One of the things I did while I'm down here in Melbourne was go to this nerdy convention thing, and Amber Benson, who was in Buffy, was one of the guests. And during one of her Q&As, she mentioned throwing a vegan Birkenstock at Leonardo DiCaprio's head. And besides the obvious amusement I got out of that, it just triggered in my head about veganism. And whenever anybody really brings up veganism, I like to approach them about it. And so I did. I approached her about it, and I asked her, was she vegan? And she kind of looked at me and she said, I used to be. And that was really disappointing to hear. She is one of the sort of people in the entertainment world that's a lot easier to admire because she's got a really good attitude and she works in a lot of different media and she writes comics and all that kind of stuff. She's a very cool person, but this really frustrated me because she's got such a good attitude about everything. Why would she give up on veganism? And I said to her, why did you do this? Why did you just leave veganism behind? And she said, it just became too hard. I was traveling and it became too hard. And I didn't want to harass her about this, obviously. So I just kind of left it. But it's really funny for me because one of the things I love most about traveling now is, seeking out great vegan food. Sydney and Melbourne are two fantastic places to do that, and I love to do it while I'm traveling. There's loads of really awesome places here in Melbourne to do that. And I know when I was in Canada, especially, it was the same. It's not hard when you're eating out, when you're self-catering. It's not hard to be vegan. And especially when, I guess, you're someone who would be traveling with a minder or whatever. I mean, geez, you've got someone there to do it for you. So it was frustrating. I guess a lot of vegan freaks out there travel a lot as well. I mean, I know Bob's spoken a bit about going away for conferences and things like that, and finding vegan food while you're away is not a hard thing. So. I just wanted to sort of ramble about that a bit. I find it very odd when people find a little reason like that to say that veganism is hard for them and use that one little reason to leave it all behind. It's frustrating. Anyway, keep up all the fantastic work, guys. It's fantastic every so often or every week or so to have a new podcast from you. So take it easy.
Thanks, Nicole.
Yeah,
That's
thanks
awesome.
for the kind
And
words.
exactly. I mean, it is not hard to be vegan. And if you're traveling, like you said, go out and find a new restaurant and, explore some of the new vegan food in the place you are.
Yep.
And if you can't find anything, or if you don't want to go into an Omni restaurant that
Go to
has
a
like
grocery
one
store.
thing, go to a grocery store.
Yeah.
Like even in our little tiny town here, we don't have a grocery store, but we have a general store and a convenience store at the gas station. And, worst comes to worst, we could go out there and make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You
could get a sub.
Yeah, exactly. You get a sub, just no cheese.
Yeah.
You can self-cater quite easily. And you know what? At the end of the day, you're still vegan.
It's true.
You don't need to compromise.
You don't.
And that was my exact thinking, too, when you were talking about the person who thought it was too hard. And she's got people to take care of her, when she's traveling. She's a star. So
It's not that hard. I mean, there are times when it's frustrating when you're out somewhere and you can't
Sure.
find something. It can be annoying, but there's always something, and I feel like I've been able to find vegan food almost everywhere I've been, and I don't think it's all that tough to really do it.
no, not at all.
I don't know. I mean, to me, I guess I have a hard time wrapping my head around this because it's like part of my life, and it's part of my ethical principles. Mm-hmm. So just like I wouldn't kick someone out of convenience because I wouldn't do something else out of convenience that I found ethically wrong. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so I look at it that way. I'm like, if someone's an ethical vegan and they eat cheese or they eat eggs or they eat whatever just out because it's convenient, they're violating their own ethics because of convenience. And like, I don't understand why people would do that necessarily.
Me either.
So I would rather not violate my own principles, my own ethics about how I feel about the world, than to violate it just because I would feel like it was easier for 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, and you know what? It might be frustrating and it might be a crappy meal for 1 or 2 days. It's just 1 or 2 days.
Exactly.
And
it's not that hard.
No.
I mean, realistically, I went to Kentucky and ate vegan food.
Yeah.
And I've been all over the U.S. and in a lot of Canada as well. And there's always Chinese restaurant. I mean, Chinese restaurants are everywhere. They can make you a vegetable stir fry.
Yeah.
You
problem.
can get vegetable fried rice. You can get these things if you just walk into a damn Asian restaurant.
Yep. So there's Subways all over the place now. You can get a sub.
Yeah, I mean, Subway, it's got its problems, but you can get a sub. So I just don't like the idea that it's too difficult because it is at times a little challenging, but it's not impossible.
No, not at all.
And if you're conscientious about it and you're a little thoughtful about it, you can actually find good places to eat. So I don't know. I can understand for people who have to go out to a lot of business dinners that it would be frustrating, but even so,
Yeah,
most restaurants
still
can
do
find
it.
something for
Exactly.
you. So, so thanks for the call. Oh, and Nicole H is also a fellow Linux user. That's right. She uses Ubuntu as well.
Hey, Bob and Jenna. This is Crystal. I just called because I did the banana nut bread that Dino gave out the other day, and it was fantastic. And since the holidays came about, I decided to try pumpkin instead of banana, and it came out really good also. I just want to say thanks for the recipes. Keep them coming. And I've been listening to the show since the very beginning. Keep the shows coming. You keep me motivated. I am actually on my way to becoming a vegan. I've been vegetarian for almost a year. November will be a year, and I'm just excited about becoming a vegan now. So thank you, guys. You've been really helping motivating me. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Crystal. Glad you've been listening. What do we need to do to get you into veganism today?
Yes.
No, seriously. I'm actually really curious, and I'm glad. First of all, I'm glad you like Dino's recipe.
Yes, and
but it wasn't really his, right? He took it from somebody else, didn't he?
Yeah, but he modified it
Okay.
to his Dino ways.
Oh yeah, that's
and
right.
it's good to know that the pumpkin works because now it is like pumpkin season.
It is indeed.
Yes, and you will hear more from Dino later on in the show.
You will. Maybe too much. I'm kidding.
Don't be mean.
We love Dino.
Yes, we do.
But I'm wondering, you've been listening to the show for a long time. I'm really curious. And if you want to tell us, that's cool. And if you don't want to tell us, that's cool. But I'm actually curious what it is that's holding you back. I want to know because we want to get you just over that edge.
Yeah.
It's not that bad.
Nope.
Just got to get you there.
Yep.
What can we do to get you there? Let us know.
Yeah, send us another voicemail or send us an email.
And if you don't want us to read on the show, it's fine. We can address it on the show without even talking about you.
That's true. Or if you just prefer, we can even just email you personally.
That's fine too.
Yeah.
If you want to email us, we would be happy to help you step into veganism today You're gonna leave this showroom with a vegan. What do I need to get you into veganism today? I feel like a really bad salesman. No, I do want to know, though. It would be helpful to know. Yeah. So, cool.
Hi. I have a question about okay. Now, I've been getting this a lot since I've turned vegan. Those people who, love to hunt and they love, meat and, they just love it. And their excuse always is, if I don't do it, I'm overpopulating, or, I'm taking care of the overpopulation of deer, or I even heard this one with the whole baby seals clubbing, that they're taking care of the overpopulation. How do you respond to that? I hate it when people just say that to me. It's just awkward. And my second question is, my mom was trying to point out something to me when she was talking. We have a neighbor of ours who raises chickens, and they raise cattle, and they grow everything organic, or completely organic farmers in such a way. And she says, why not eat those eggs from the chickens? Because it's completely organic. The hens are treated completely nicely. They're all done up in their coops, very nice, et cetera, and they're just laying eggs, and they're going to go to waste if we just don't eat them. What do you think about that? Alrighty, I hope y'all enjoyed my voice now, because I know y'all love it. I look forward to listening to more of your podcast. Bye.
All right, well, I think we talked about the deer problem because we had this question before on another show, and who knows which one, because I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But basically it comes down to, we're the cause of the deer and everything getting into people's yards and the apparent overpopulation because we're invading on their territory. So
we're
if they
encroaching.
had more land, that there wouldn't be any, so quote unquote problem with deer or any wild animals. The only problem is the problem we create.
Yep.
So, and to solve that problem, we don't need to be killing them.
There are nonviolent solutions as well.
Mm-hmm.
But this whole idea, people hear this a lot, I think, when they go vegan and start talking to people about veganism. They hear, well, if we don't milk the cows, they'll explode. If we don't kill the cows, there's going to be a planet full of cows. We can do with all the cows that already exist and all this other stuff. But I think when you're not talking about deer, if you're talking about, meat that we consume, mm-hmm. animals that provide the meat that we consume, not that we consume, but that people consume.
Mm-hmm.
I think what needs to happen is you need to take a step backwards and say, look, why are these animals being brought into existence to begin with? Holy hell, the phone's ringing. Our phone never rings.
No, it doesn't.
Turn off the ringer here.
Good idea.
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, I forget what you were just saying because I got distracted by the telephone.
So anyway, we don't get very many telephone calls actually in the house. What I was saying was, I think what I was saying was that the whole reason animals are being brought into existence is for our consumption. Mm-hmm. And so if there were no demand for that consumption, we wouldn't have to bring animals into existence. Do you see what I'm saying? It's people are assuming that somehow these animals are just out there copulating and creating more animals. But in fact, they are being brought into existence for the purpose of profit and production.
Right.
So the point is I think what I'm trying to get at here is to say that, in fact, animals being brought into existence because of our demands, and if we didn't have the demand, they wouldn't be brought into existence. Do you see that, what I'm getting at?
Mm-hmm.
That's for the animals that, we buy in the grocery store.
Right. But actually, Friends of Animals, we talked to Lee Hall, who's from Friends of Animals, a couple of shows ago, actually works on issues regarding wild animals. And they take a unique position that you don't see too often in other animal advocacy groups, is that, we need to become vegan to save wild animals as well, because agriculture takes away land from these animals that normally would have all this land to exist on and to do their thing that they usually do. But we take away that, and then we shoot, things like wolves because they eat the cattle. So it creates this whole horrible cycle of us killing animals to save other animals to kill them later.
Yep. No.
So I think if you go to the Friends of Animals site, you might be able to find some more information about that kind of stuff too.
And the other thing, the question about why would you not eat the eggs from a humanely raised chicken, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
It's not vegan. No, actually, eggs, just like milk, is for baby cows, right? Eggs, when they're fertilized, are meant to sustain a baby chicken, right? And chickens normally only lay eggs, and so, kind of infrequently, but the way that chickens have been bred is that they then lay eggs way more frequently than they should, and it's actually detrimental to their health because they're laying out all these nutrients that they could use. So what a lot of sanctuaries do when they raise chickens is feed the eggs back to the chickens. So that way they're regaining the nutrients that they lost. And that way, they're not suffering. So if we take those eggs, you take away the nutrients. And by taking those eggs, you also... I was talking about reifying, this earlier, but you reify the position that their products and that they themselves are ours to use.
Yep,
they're
exactly.
not. They're for the chickens.
And even with your organic neighbor that the caller mentions, I would use her name, but she didn't leave her name, did she?
No.
The caller mentions those chickens. If it is in fact an organic operation that produces chickens and eggs, when first off, if they're producing eggs, free range eggs. The males are going somewhere, and it's usually in the trash or being gassed.
Exactly.
So the males are all
killed.
Killed pretty early on, number one. Number two, when those chickens stop being productive, guess where they end up? Dead.
Yep. They go into, the frozen dinners and all the other chicken where you don't need the actual
organic
broiler.
chicken wouldn't end up into that, but they,
but laying hens often go into, they still get eaten.
Yeah, right.
they're
that's
just
the point.
not the broiler hens with the humongous chests that fall over because they can't sustain themselves.
So anyway, however you look at the situation, it is one where you're going to see again this reproduction of domination over animals, and it just keeps lending credence to this idea that they're ours to consume, that their products are ours to consume, et cetera, et cetera. Make sense? Okay. So and we have what do we? What are we done with the voicemails?
We're done with the voicemails. I think.
Okay. So now we have emails. There's our shitty fucking soundboard program crashing again.
This is a good opportunity to remind you, 267-295-1944, if you'd like to give us a voicemail. And since we are so far behind, we're catching up. So, we'll get to them eventually.
Yep.
But we do have a lot of voicemails. Should I just read them all anyway?
Yeah, we're not going to. I'm waiting for this program. By the way, if you're a podcast producer, do not buy the program called Soundbite.
It doesn't work.
It works, but
for
only for 50 minutes. We get 50 minutes into the show, and then the thing starts not to work correctly.
Right.
So give me a couple of these.
Okay, this one is from Ethan. He says... Bob and Jenna, I wanted to write a quick note and say thanks for the show. I've only been listening since show number 46, but I've been slowly listening to past shows. I've been a vegetarian for 4 years and vegan for the past year and a half and loving every minute. But alas, I live in Oklahoma. Your show has been a great, in parentheses, only outlet for me to hear about topics that are important in my life. You've really exposed me to some issues and people I wasn't familiar with. Colleen from Compassionate Cooks, Shack 7, and now Lee Hall. Truly, my life will never be the same. I'm not trying to be cheesy. I listened to the Lee Hall interview as I drove through Arkansas, past numerous poultry farms, Tyson processing plants, and chicken trucks, the open flatbed 18-wheelers with battery cage stacked 15 high.
Man.
As you can imagine, it's a horrendous sight to pass these trucks and see the terrified birds, not to mention all the feathers that the truck leave in their wake. The interview was fascinating, and I'm eager to read her book. But as I drove through the disturbing landscape, it did highlight the amount of work that needs to be done and the immediate need for a powerful voice. Hopefully, Lee's provocative arguments will create dialogue and speed some consensus within the movement. In addition, felt betrayed by the many animal groups that signed the Humane Meat Support Letter. What a travesty. It is. That's it. Thanks for keeping me sane and angry. Vegan love, Ethan.
Excellent. Thanks, Ethan.
Yes.
Glad we're able to keep you some company out there in Oklahoma.
Yeah, man. If you can be vegan in Oklahoma, you can be vegan anywhere, I would think.
I would think so. I feel like if we can be vegan here, you can be vegan anywhere.
True.
Not that it's bad here. It's really not.
No,
actually.
we have it pretty good.
We do. We have a good co-op.
We have a co-op, yeah.
This email is from Kevin, and Kevin says, "Hello, I've emailed before with no response. I think you thought I was full of shit, but my emails were real questions. Anyway, assuming you get too many emails to respond to, I've been subscribing to your podcast since number 5, and your podcast has convinced me to go to a vegan diet. I started by reading Fast Food Nation and immediately went vegetarian, but because of the facts that your podcast has given me, I decided to go to a vegan diet for about a year. I think that vegans do have an issue thinking they're better. However, this more than likely is due to the lack of facts. As a vegetarian, which I still consider myself because other than diet, I have not researched all the possibilities, I had no idea of what was going on to God's creatures in things other than food. I think it would be a good idea to inform people of things that are not vegan for things they wouldn't normally think about. It wasn't until your podcast, which talked about Gillette doing tests on animals, until I had thought about testing. If I knew for sure that a company was doing awful things, I would stop buying their products because of their awful behavior." What is the dog chewing on?
Bone.
Okay.
Now the bone.
I was going to say.
For those out there, it's a Nylabone.
I just want to make sure it wasn't like some essential book that I need. Anyway, it would be beneficial to inform people of things that are not vegan without forcing them to buy things. I will probably buy your book soon. We're going to force you to buy it. I'll probably buy your book soon, but would like to stop helping while involuntarily doing so hurting animals, because although I started this transition in my life for health reasons, I find myself caring more and more about all of God's creatures and wish to harm no animal. Sorry if this email went on too long or had errors, but I am drunk emailing instead of drunk calling. Love the podcast and would like to know of more podcasts that are similar. I have not found any good ones. I do like to start a review, but feel real guilty for listening, especially on Tuesday. I like to start a review too. It's
speaking
horrible.
of dirty podcasts.
I do not recommend it for anyone.
It is very un-PC.
Extremely un-PC, extremely offensive.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you, 90% of our audience will be deeply offended by the show.
Mm-hmm.
So if you think you're offended, do me a favor. Don't go listen to it and then come back and say, oh, God, I was so offended. So please don't listen. But Distorted View, Tuesday they have this segment on Tuesdays on Distorted View called Sextastic Tuesday, where they read really, really disgusting and fucked up porno stuff. And it's disgusting. It is
mind-bogglingly disgusting.
Really disgusting.
Yes.
So, anyway, I think the point of that email was to say that we should talk more about some of the products and effects that are out there, and the way that they have impacts on animals. And I agree.
Okay, so we will talk about those eventually.
We will.
Okay. This one's from Sarah. She says, hi, my name is Sarah, and I'm 31. I became a vegetarian about 1.5 years ago, and I knew I would never become vegan. From what I knew, it was far too extreme a lifestyle for me. Well, back in August, I got an iPod for my birthday and discovered podcasts. I was looking for a vegetarian podcast to get some recipe ideas or maybe some general veg info, and enter Bob and Jenna and the Vegan Freak podcast. I was hesitant at first, but curious to find out what veganism was. Truly, nonetheless. So I signed up. I must admit, I thought you guys were a bit much at first.
We are a bit much.
We are. It was, as I suspected, a bit extreme. I have been listening to the archived shows for the past 2 months now, and I have decided to start the transition to veganism. After listening to all the info you guys put out there, I realized I couldn't continue on as a vegetarian and still feel like I was doing enough for the animals.
Hell yeah.
Indeed. After all, they are why I became veg in the first place.
That's right.
I actually made my first batch of vegan pancakes this morning thanks to Isa's cookbook. Yay! And I plan to purchase your book in the next couple of weeks to help me through the transition.
Double yay.
You've opened up a whole new world to me with all the info, the different websites, and cookbook suggestions, so it's awesome. So I want to thank you, Bob and Jenna, for doing this podcast. You're welcome.
That's why we do it, though.
Indeed, that's exactly why we do it. If it weren't for you guys, I probably would never consider taking that extra step. So please keep doing what you're doing. It really does make a difference. I do have a couple questions as well. There are a lot of people who question me about vegetarianism, and because I'm still so new to this, I never know how to respond.
You punch them in the face and walk away. No, I'm kidding.
Oh. So I was hoping you guys could help me with this. What do I say to people when they say the following? If we didn't hunt, fish, eat animals, the world we'd be overpopulated with them.
Talked about that
earlier. Yeah. How can you say you're for animal liberation and freedom, yet you own a cat and keep him locked up in the house all the time?
Mm-hmm. Do you want to answer that now, or you want to go through each one?
Let's answer that now.
Go ahead.
Actually, there's only one more. The animal's already dead. Might as well eat it. These things frustrate me to no end, and I'm not sure how to handle it. Any suggestions?
Okay, well, with the animal's dead, already eat it thing, I talked about demand earlier. It's all question of demand. If there is not demand for the corpses of animals, the animal corpses will not be created.
Exactly.
It's a very simple capitalist relationship.
Yep. The animals are bred into existence by humans, right?
For human consumption.
And then we kill them, and then they're in the shelves in the grocery store.
That's right. So there is that very basic part of it. Now, what was the other one?
How can you say for your animal liberation freedom, yet you own a cat and you keep him locked up in the house?
Well, probably, very few people, my thinking is not that many people buy cats, right? Cats most people get are rescue cats, aren't they?
Yes.
So, that I don't know. You can answer this one.
Well, the thing is, okay, animal liberation does not mean that animals need to be running around everywhere. No, it means that they do their thing. And right now, there's so many cats out there that people have bred into existence and then don't want to take care of, that it is our job as people who care about animals to take care of them and provide them with food and shelter.
That's right.
And a cat that is indoors, doing their cat thing inside is going to be way better off than a cat running around outside looking for food on its own, almost getting run over by cars, getting funky diseases, and, being prey to larger animals.
That's right.
So if we really care about the animals, we will take good care of them while there are still animals out there that need to be taken care of.
Good answer.
How's that?
That's exactly what I wanted to say, but so much more eloquently.
Okay.
I'm feeling a little tongue-tied today.
Huh. Maybe you need more caffeine? Less caffeine?
I don't know. I have to pee.
Oh.
Now, several thousand people know I have to pee. We have thousands of listeners all over the world. And the miracle of podcasting has given you all the information that Bob has to take a whiz. That's right.
Because we were drinking tea earlier. So.
I drank a big mug of tea. Vanilla tea.
Yes.
Anyhow, yeah.
Anywho, yes. Did I give you another one?
Yeah, I have it right here.
Okay.
I do, indeed.
All right.
Fuck, this is long.
I know. And my printer prints it nice and tiny, too.
Yeah, I know. Good job. Cheap-ass Mac. Anyway. First of all, I love you guys. I became a vegan over the summer and have started listening to your recent and back episodes ever since. I really love your show. You and I see eye to eye on so many things, from animal rights to Marxism to Canada. I went to college there and loved it. It is like listening to friends I've never met. I do have to say the music is a little hardcore for me, but I fast-forward through it. The hardest stuff I listen to is Weezer. I know. You guys have a bit of a potty mouth, but it makes me laugh. Potty mouth. I've started to swear... Wait. We got dog fight going on here. Emmy's on top of Mole. Okay, anyway. I've started to swear a bit as well. Please don't swear because of us. We don't want to make you swear. I was thinking of something clever to write you and waiting to catch up. I'm waiting to catch up on your podcast to do a voicemail. I know you guys like voicemail better. Anyway, I am so outraged that I need to write to you. I am sick, so I'm hanging out at a friend's house. The reason I cannot leave a voicemail. I no longer have a TV, so I've been watching TV over at his house as a treat while being sick. He wanted to watch the new Gordon Ramsay on BBC. Gordon is such a fucker.
He really is.
Hold on.
He admits it too, though. All right, guys. Hey,
break it up. Oh. Okay. The dogs are fighting. Gordon is such a fucker. He said it was National Vegan Week, so he started saying that he was making what he was making, and he finished off his list stating for the starter it would be green lentils with a big slab of foie gras. Fucker. He continues his fucked up shit by bringing his little daughters to a free-range turkey farm. He explains his plan is to teach the girls where Christmas dinner comes from, so they will be growing the vegetables and the turkey in their backyard. All the turkeys were free-range, so the farmer was saying they are humanely raised and treated. Animal welfareist fucker. All the turkeys, of course, had their beaks snipped off. He then brings a turkey home and puts a live turkey in the oven to show the girls. The girls freak out, and the turkey is so scared it shits on the oven range when they take it out of the oven. Gordon Ramsay was just laughing. Fucker. By the way, he just made 3 very misogynistic comments in 3 minutes. Oh, massive surprise. He's a speciesist and a sexist. Mm-hmm. So he is sexist fucker to boot. Shocker, I know. Keep up the good work. A devoted listener from CT. Connecticut, I guess. Mm-hmm. Mike. So, I guess the point of that is I agree with you about Gordon Ramsay.
He is a fucker.
And I apologize for the extreme craziness during that segment. The dogs were fighting.
Yes, play fighting, but...
Well, yeah, they don't really fight. It's just... Here's the thing. Emmy weighs 50 pounds. Mole weighs almost 90. Emmy rules the house. And whatever Mole has, Emmy wants. Mm-hmm. And because Emmy is the alpha dog, the queen, she just takes it from him. And sometimes Mole will kind of play fight back, but often not. Mm-hmm. Today they were play fighting back. Yep. And this can sometimes lead into them running around the house, jumping on things, over the couch, on the couch, rolling around the floor.
Yes, Emmy does these hilarious flying leaps off the back of the couch.
She does. They're awesome. Yeah. And she does these little flip turns. She gets really excited. She just jumps in there and spins.
She's very acrobatic.
Anyway, so I agree with you, Mike. Fucker.
Okay, I have one here. Hi, Bob and Jenna. This is sort of embarrassing that I found this, but I guess this is my time to tell the world that, yes, I do read O Magazine. We won't laugh at you too much. Anyway, there's a section in the November issue entitled How-Tos, and there's one One is How to Drop 5 Pounds Fast. The author is the founder of Fitness Retreats and has this to say. I've developed this 2-part program that guarantees I'll lose 4 to 6 pounds over 2 weeks. The diet is 90% of it. During the first week, I go vegan. For breakfast, I'll blend cashews, bananas, tahini, dates, and water into a yummy smoothie. For lunch, I have a big organic salad with tofu. Portions don't matter. Dinner could be another salad, or if I'm feeling studly, a veggie soup of avocado, tomatoes, zucchini, etc. During week 2, I go raw, so no more tofu. She goes on then to give her recommendations for a daily workout routine, and then just says that she usually shrinks a dress size. Just thought you guys would be interested to know that now a bunch of Midwestern housewives will be trying a vegan diet and then gaining the weight back once they go Omni again. Thanks for the podcast, Hannah.
Cool.
That's so true. That it's like, why don't you stay vegan? You could be this, healthy
do that all the time.
But it is frustrating.
And are you done commenting on that email?
Actually, I wanted to mention when we were I was looking in the bookstore and I was, looking at the magazine rack a couple weeks ago, and there was one for, I forget, Shape magazine, maybe one of those, I don't know, fitness magazines, and had a picture of Alicia Silverstone on the cover, and I thought, oh man, they're probably not even going to mention the V word.
Right.
But I was out of curiosity. I opened up the magazine.
Liar, you subscribe.
I do not.
What magazine was it?
I think it's Shape magazine.
You subscribe. You totally get that in the mail.
Oh, totally.
Like, oh my God, you totally do, and I know it. All right.
Anyway.
Don't lie.
And I had this interview with her, and she actually talks about her vegan diet and how wonderful it is. And they actually have little snippets of things about veganism there, and they don't mock it at all. I was shocked.
It's because it's totally okay for girls.
True. Yeah.
You would never see that in Maxim.
Oh, good God, no.
It'd be like, go vegan. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Well, not that I even know what's in Maxim.
Scantily clad
titties.
women. Yeah.
I mean, besides boobies, who the hell knows what's in there? Yeah, so anyway, thanks for that, Hannah. I know, you read O. That's okay. It's all right.
It's okay.
We'll keep your secret. We won't tell any of your hip friends at school. We have 2 emails here from the what the hell do you make of this file? I guess is what we call it.
Yeah.
We get emails like this every so often, and I thought I would just give you a short sampling of them on the show because they're funny and enjoyable. Mm-hmm. This one is from Bobby. And, of course, both of these have fake email addresses attached to them. Mm-hmm. This one says, this is the question that was submitted. Is it true that vegans have better sex than people that eat meat? I mean, if you eat a lot of meat, you don't want any more meat, if you catch my drift. What the fuck is that?
You don't want that hot sausage injection. I think is what he's getting at.
Is it true? But he's coming against the idea that vegans have better sex. He's saying, is it true that vegans have better sex than people that eat meat? I mean, if you eat a lot of meat, you don't want any more meat. You know what and I think he's saying he doesn't believe that vegans actually have better sex. Is that his point? I
don't know what his point is.
It doesn't matter because he's stupid. Yeah. And this one I really like. This is one of my favorites. Being a professor and all. This is from Roscoe. I am doing a report, so please make this a thorough, THOROH, answer. Please make this a thorough answer. What in the world do you eat, and why should I go vegan? Yeah, I'll do your homework for you, Roscoe.
Yeah. It's called a library, Roscoe.
It's called the rest of the internet.
Yeah.
And how about the Google?
The Google. Even President Bush knows how to use the Google.
Even Bush can use the Google, Roscoe. Now, come on. What in the world do you eat? Now, Roscoe...
You're just too lazy to read the stuff that comes up on the Google.
What in the world do you eat? What in the world do you eat? What a dumb fucking question. Roscoe, I want to know, do you just walk around eating meat all day? Are you a true carnivore? Do you never eat a vegetable? Do you never eat any carbohydrate? Do you just eat protein constantly? Are you just a fucking protein monster? Sorry. We do get emails like that on occasion, and I thought I would share one with you. I'm going to...
And they're not from listeners, so...
I'm taking deep breaths now. I'm going to, go light some Nok Champa. Okay. Sit on my yoga mat. I'm going to,
Go align your chakras.
I'm just going to go align my chakras, and then I'm going to visit my energy healer. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I feel a lot better, Sister Jenna.
Good.
I really do.
Good. So Brother Bob, should we do Dino or Lelly first?
The way you said do, should we do? I think they're both taken, so we shouldn't do any of them.
Well, of course not. But should we play the segment from Dino or Lelly first?
Lelly.
Okay. Lelly.
No.
No?
I want to do a little bit of intro here.
Do a little bit of intro.
Well, first off, people don't know who the hell Lelly is.
No, they don't.
Like, some people do, but not everybody knows.
Of course
so
not.
I want to set up for our audience a little bit.
Do it.
Okay. On the show and in life and all this other stuff, we're always talking about how it's important for you to do something that you can do with what you have. Like, to do something for the movement, for animals, with the things that you have nearby. Like, to use your skills and leverage them and to do something to help promote veganism, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody should be doing this. Mm-hmm. And I feel like it's really important. I feel like Lelly is one of those people that really did this. Like Lelly and Weech, these two folks we know. Well, we don't really know them. We know them virtually, right? Mm-hmm. Actually did this. Mm-hmm. They decided that they wanted to get people to think about veganism more carefully. And so they created this whole big event. And that's what we're going to talk to Lelly about.
That was a very good intro.
Thank you very much. All right, so we'll let that go.
We're here with Lelly from Dundee, Scotland, and Lelly is the mastermind behind Vegan Freak for a Week, and she's here to explain to us how it came about, what it is. So welcome, Lelly.
Hi.
Explain to us, what is Vegan Freak for a Week?
Well, as with all the best stories, it started in a pub one night when one of our friends was trying to come up with some kind of fundraising event for his office, and being the opportunistic vegan that I am, I suggested that he tried to go vegan for a week. And he said, well, it probably wouldn't work for his office because he'd have to make everybody else do it, that he wouldn't mind doing it. He thought it would be quite an interesting thing to do. So it started out with him, and we were just going to be taking him under a wing for a week, and then there were 5 people, and then there were 10, and then there were 15, and then there were 20, and then it just kept going on from there. And then I kept saying things like, oh, I'll put a buffet on the first night so that you can all experience lots of food, see what you like, see what you don't like. I'll get goodie bags so you have a little bit of help. I'll write a guidebook, And then when the buffet was originally supposed to be in our flat, which is tiny, and when it got to about 20 odd people, we thought, right, we're going to have to find somewhere else to do this. So we thought one night, we went out, we decided we were going to book a venue, and then we thought, booking a venue, why not just put a gig on as well? So we decided to put a gig on. We emailed Oi Polloi and asked them if they wanted to play, and they said yes, exactly the kind of thing we want to support. So they played. We got a band from London, an all-vegan band to come up, and some other really good bands played as well, so that was good. That was a big success. Wow. And the whole thing is just to raise money for an animal sanctuary. Like, the gig people were paying at the door for the animal sanctuary, and all the vegan recruits, as they like to call them, they all are getting their friends and family and anyone they can find to sponsor them.
That's incredible. And so how was the gig to start it all off? How did it go?
It went fantastically. There was a few hiccups, but I don't know, I think the vegan gods must have been looking down on us because there was just a whole big bunch of happy coincidences that made it all go brilliantly well. I mean, one of the bands pulled out just before, but through a sheer coincidence, another band decided that they would phone someone who was in one of the other support bands, and they were like, yeah, we want to play. So they came along and they played. Politicide, the band from London, were having car trouble, and they ended up turning up just on time. Wow. And then we had a bit of equipment trouble, so no one sound checked. It was all very punk. Everyone just went on. Everyone played brilliantly. It was really good.
That's great. So you clearly had a lot of support in doing this. Like, who helped you out with the goodie bags and all that stuff?
You did. You sent us some stuff. Loads of people did. There's links on our website to all the people who supported us. PCRM sent us loads of stuff. Loads and loads and loads of stuff. Wow. Vegan Essentials, Cosmos Vegan Shop, the Secret Society of Vegans sent us stuff. Vegan Outreach, AK Press, trying to think. The response was amazing, especially as we sent emails to lots of all the places like that, and they were all so supportive. They said, yeah, it's exactly the kind of thing we want to support, but we also decided at the gig just to raise a little bit of extra money that we put a raffle on. So we thought, right, we'll just go around the local shops kind of big chain stores, see if they can give us a £5 voucher, and it was amazing how often we just got point blankly refused.
Wow.
When all these little tiny vegan organisations have been sending us boxes and boxes of stuff.
That's great. I think
it just says a lot about the vegans of the world, how generous they are.
What I think is really cool about what you did, though, is I'm always like talking about how, I think people need to just do what they think is right, or like do whatever they can do in their own place. And what I think is cool about what you did is that, you basically just put this whole thing together. It's like an amazing event. You had Oi Play, you had all the stuff going on, stuff, from companies and people all around the world. And you had all these people come out and basically try veganism out for a while. And it was really, I think it's a great event.
Yeah, I mean, ideally they'd be going vegan permanently. But it's a little bit optimistic to expect them all, because that'd be practically the entire population of Dundee going vegan overnight.
That'd be excellent.
But it's challenging their perceptions, challenging how they think, and taking them outside of their comfort zone for a while. And it started out as just me. I was the organiser. And then through Vegan Freak for a week, 3 of the recruits at the time decided just to become vegan, so I had 3 extra organisers helping me out.
Wow.
So it was already a success before the week actually started, because it's made 3 full-time vegans. So
that's great.
And it made me 3 vegan friends, so that was good.
Excellent. And you've kept the recruits quite busy this week. What are some of the things that you've been doing?
Kept myself quite busy as well.
I bet.
So there was the gig that was on the Wednesday. That was World Vegan Day. So that was originally the date I said, yeah, let's just do it on World Vegan Day. That seems like a sensible place to start. So we had the gig on Wednesday, and that was really good. There was a buffet and stuff at the beginning. And then yesterday, Saturday, we went on a vegan day trip to Glasgow, where we went for a vegan fry-up in the morning, and then went to a vegan cafe at night and got some lots of nice vegan food and cheesecake and stuff, just so they could feel a little bit like they were eating what they usually eat, just to keep them comfortable. And as well, everyone likes a shopping trip to Glasgow if you're from Dundee. And then today we all drove up to the sanctuary, which was really, really good. It was just interacting with all the animals and seeing where all the money that we're raising is actually going and what it's going to go into, and that was really good. And we actually we burned the Gary Francione interview onto a CD and played that on the car on the way up as well. So it was an all-day vegan day trip. It was really good.
Excellent.
And so how many people ended up doing it overall?
I think it was about 25 overall. And, well, not all of them have been fully participating. They've all been doing the actual Vegan Freak for a week, but not everybody's been coming to all the day trips and stuff, which is understandable. A lot of people seem to want to just experience it on their own, which is perfectly understandable. I mean, a lot of people want support, but a lot of them want to do it themselves as well. So just giving them the choice that they can have the support if they want it.
That's true. And what have some of the reactions been so far?
I've heard this through the grapevine that one of the people who I've never actually met who's doing it has decided to stay vegan. So that's a good reaction.
Great.
A lot of other people have, like, someone said to us on the bus on the way to Glasgow yesterday that when they look at cows now, they don't see a burger, they see an intelligent animal, which is a big step.
It is.
That's a huge step.
Yeah. So we have had quite a few stupid comments, like people planning their day trip out on Thursday to go get their burger, but I have a little plan for that as well. On Wednesday, I'm having a graduation party at my house. Hopefully they're not all going to come, because I'm not sure where they're all going to go. But yet again, there'll be more food, and we'll give them all certificates for participating, and there'll be a prize for the person who fundraised the most. And then just as they're getting a little bit comfortable, we're going to drop the Earthlings bomb on them and have a little screening of that. So
excellent.
Hopefully that'll maybe put some people off getting their post-vegan freak for a week burger.
That's a really good
brilliant.
idea. So, and you've been running a brunch cafe all week too. You've been cooking up a storm.
Yeah, I mean, I usually have about 1,001 people in my flat anyway for food, because I live right in the city centre, and all my friends are students, so they always just seem to appear when I've just put dinner in the oven. So it hasn't actually been that much different to what I usually do. But yeah, that's just an extra bit. If they really can't cope themselves finding something to eat, then I'm there to help them out.
Excellent. Well, you've been a really good guide. It sounds like I saw the little directory you put together, the rules for Vegan Freak for a week. It's, I think, really helping out. And so when are you going to get some sleep?
Well, after it's finished, I'm planning on hibernating for at least about a month. You know, as well as this to contend with, I have had real life to contend with as well, and so just been not sleeping. I've decided sleeping's for losers.
So how
That's my motto.
So if someone wanted to do this where they lived, you know, how would they get started doing it? I mean, I know you guys started in the pub, but if someone wanted to actually get started doing this, what kind of advice would you give them just so they could get rolling on it?
Buy an organizer. That was my first bit of advice, because as much as you think those scraps of paper are going to come in handy, they won't. You'll lose them, and you'll lose all your good ideas. Write away to as many people as you think can help as possible, and make sure you do have people helping. Make sure you're not all putting it on yourself. I mean, but saying that, if something needs done that is essential to the project, then make sure you do it yourself, or get someone who you absolutely trust, who knows on fear of death that they need to get it done.
Cool.
Because it's not necessarily as important to them as it is to you.
That's true. So you think you're going to do it again next year, or are you just too tired?
I don't know. When I was up all night on Tuesday baking cupcakes and muffins and cookies and stuff, I just kept saying to people, just remind me how my legs feel from being standing over the oven all night. Just remind me this if I decide I want to do this next year. And just remind me how tired I've been. But I don't know. I'm not going to say never again, but I'm not going to commit myself to doing it either.
Well, maybe you could just have a little reunion party next year for all the people who did decide to go vegan.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for talking with us. We know you're incredibly busy this week, and good luck with the rest of the week.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, and let us know how many people do end up staying vegan and stuff. And
yeah, will do. And could I say thanks to everybody who helped out by donating their time in some way, or just helping out in general, because the response has just been great.
Excellent.
Excellent. And can you remind people of your website in case they want to read all about what's going on?
Yep, it's veganfreakforaweek.com, and if anybody wants to get in touch, then it's Lelly at veganfreakforaweek.com.
Perfect. So,
okay.
Excellent. Thanks, Lelly.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lelly, for talking with us.
Absolutely.
And we know it's a little bit late. We interviewed her like 2 weeks ago, but it's still there and it's still relevant. So.
Absolutely.
But I think we need to play that voicemail from Weege.
Okay, well, let's do that.
Hey, Bob, Jenna, Swede, and Co. Oh, nervous.
Don't be
I'm
nervous.
just drunk. Stu, come on. This is military Stu, and he's drunk too. Avast! And Lily's dead. She's dead because she's been baking all day. I did say she. She's been baking all day in preparation for tomorrow, which is the 1st of November, which is the Oi Poly gig. It's the first. Actually, yeah. Oh, there goes the phone. It's the 1st of November now. Happy World Vegan Day, by the way. Yeah, cool. Oi Poly gigs today, later on tonight. No, today's the 1st of November. Lily's trying to make me sound like I'm a drunken idiot, which is not the case, which I'm sure you'll back up. Anyway, talk to Stu for a sec.
Hello, lots of people I really don't know. I'm quite mildly drunk, and I will ramble for a bit while Weege drinks his Newcastle Brown Ale, because that's what happens in Britain. Because that's what we do when we're drunk. We drink more so that we can get further drunk and talk rubbish on the phone to people we really don't know. I'm just making lots of rubbish so that I don't seem like an idiot. Oh, wait, there I go. Never mind, back to Weege.
Hello, vegan freaks.
Hi, Weege.
What? Oh, Lily, come do something. Come do. Okay. We've got a theme tune for Vegan Freak for a week. Okay, right. Vegan Freaks for a week. Vegan Freaks.
That's awesome.
Cut you off. Thank you, Weege. And once again, Lelly wants to say she has nothing to do with that.
Of course not.
So
I wouldn't think she'd have anything to do with that idiocy.
So thank you, Weege and Stu.
It's great, though.
It's awesome.
That's excellent. There were voicemails, too, from the Halloween thing, weren't there?
Yeah, I forgot to edit them, though.
Oh. Because they were a mess, I'm sure.
Yes, they were a mess. That's why I didn't even bother.
Dogfight. Hang on. Okay.
All right. We just need to get a little bit further now.
I know, we don't have really much more. So, we haven't had Dino on in a long time, and this is our segment with Dino, and his book is coming out, but I don't think it'll be out by Christmas because we're a little slow. We're going to try. It's only two of us who are working on this book. We've had a nice cover design, and we have someone to edit interior, but we're a little slow with getting the book out. So, it'll come out soon. But anyway, here's Dino.
Okay, we're here with Dino for our Dino segment, and he's going to tell us about some quick things that we can make. Dino.
Hey, Jenna. It's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been too long.
It's been too long.
We're sorry.
That's all right. Busy stuff happens. But I've been getting a few emails recently about how people don't have a lot of time to put anything together and how they'd like quick recipes. And then I've also been getting emails from college students generally saying, okay, I'm at college, I don't know what to do, and I thought I'd throw together some suggestions, see if that'll do any good.
Excellent.
So let's plunge in head first, shall we?
Yeah, let's.
One of the easiest things I've found so far is doing roasted vegetables in the microwave, just because it's filling and it's easy to do in terms of, your time involved. As in, you throw everything into the microwave and go off and do your paper or whatever it is, and in about 15 minutes you have something done.
Nice.
So what do? You just take a bunch of vegetables and throw them in a microwave-safe bowl and nuke them, or what?
Sort of, almost. That's about 3/4 there, and that would still taste good, but it wouldn't be as good as it could be. Best thing to do is to find a sort of spice blend that you're comfortable with, be it curry powder or garam masala or something like that, oil and whatever vegetables you're doing, and then throw that in the microwave and then microwave it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. It's for whatever reason, if you don't add some kind of ground spices to it when you're throwing it in the microwave, it's going to come out really flat and really dead, and then you're going to feel the need to add earth balance or something else like that, and that's really gross.
I'm bad for you.
And bad for you, I guess. So if you generally just stick with, putting oil in there already, you're going to get that little tiny bit of fat, but you don't have to drown it in there to give it flavor.
Right. So roasted vegetables is one possibility. What else? What other kinds of ideas you have?
Definitely, you can make really quick breads in the toaster oven. There's that really big bread recipe that I posted about. If you scale it back way back, to about a quarter of the original recipe, you can just as easily do that in the toaster oven as you would in the regular big oven, which would take you some time and that kind of thing. I've also found that when you're making when you're making vegan pizza and stuff like that, I find that if you try to make it like a proper pizza, it takes too much time and energy and effort. Whereas if you grab some olives, maybe some tomatoes, a couple of leaves of basil or something like that, just lay it on top of there, and dop on some hummus and stuff like that, you're good to go. It's really fast, really easy, and you're ready to eat within about 5 minutes or so.
And it's cheap.
And it's dirt cheap.
And you can make
pita. I was subsisting off of when I was kind of low on cash and I needed something. That was it.
Yeah, and you can pretty much make a pizza with tortillas or with pita bread or...
Yes.
All that kind
of stuff. If you have some avocado, throw that in. If you have some cilantro, throw that in. Whatever, the sky's the limit.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah. The other quick thing I found was that if you make an aromatic soup, I'm not sure if your listeners are familiar with what aromatics are.
Why don't you explain it?
Aromatics are any of those ingredients that you add to other dishes that are, aromatic. They smell really good and they add a lot of depth of flavor, and you pretty much can cook without them, but it won't be the same without. Those would include stuff like garlic, onions, carrots, peppers, things like that. And I was in kind of a hurry, and I had a whole bunch of aromatics left over at one of my friends' house. We were all just cooking together. And I decided, all right, let me just give this a shot. So we had celery, carrots, onions, peppers, all the stuff already chopped up, and it was just sitting there. And we had to do something with it because all the other dishes were put together. So I just quickly threw them in some oil, threw in a couple of, tablespoons of Italian seasoning, just sautéed that around for about 5 minutes, and then dumped in a can of diced tomatoes, let it come up to a full boil, and that was it. And for whatever reason, this really stupid easy soup was so good.
That sounds excellent.
When I say stupid easy, I mean, we heated up the oil, we threw the vegetables in there, let it saute, and then threw the tomatoes in there, let it come to the boil, and that was it.
We just made a stupid easy soup that I didn't think would be very good, but it actually was. It was just lentil soup. We just took a cup of lentils for every 3 cups of water, threw them in with some onion and a little bit of salt, and just boiled that, and then added in some tomato and some herbs, and it was really good.
Yes, and you would think it wouldn't be all that a big a deal, but for some reason, it's just really good that way. Now, if you're in a college dorm, there's a couple of tools that'll just make your life easier in the long run. One of them is a crock pot, another one's a microwave, third one's a rice cooker. If you have those three, you're pretty much set wherever you go.
And a lot of dorms, you can get access to a kitchen, too.
Yes. But if you don't have a lot of time to be running back and forth to the kitchen, and you just want to have, stuff that you can just throw together in your own room, your crock pot is your best friend, because that is the best way to throw beans in there. Especially if you're a poor college student, doesn't have a lot of money. Beans are dirt cheap when you buy them dried. They get to be like triple the cost when you buy them canned.
True.
And a pound of beans, the pound of dried beans will take you for a good week at least.
Yeah, but some of them have to be soaked ahead of time, right?
Not in the crock pot.
Oh, really?
That's the beauty of the crock pot, is that when you wake up in the morning, you dump the beans in there, you dump the water in there, put the lid on, put it on low, walk out the door. 8 hours later when you come home, it's done. And if you're really pressed for time, then you add the seasonings and everything, except for if you're adding tomatoes or salt. Don't add tomatoes or salt in the beginning. But like any of your spices and stuff like that, you just throw it into the crock pot along with the beans, along with the water, maybe a couple of bay leaves, close the lid on, and then when you come home at night, your entire dorm smells just heavenly. Your meal's already there waiting for you.
Excellent. You can make everybody else jealous that you have something that smells really good for dinner.
Precisely. And if you're the generous type, have them over for dinner and invite them in. It just tastes so good and it's ready to go. And that's especially good if you're watching your weight, because you didn't have to add any fat.
Perfect.
And it's high fiber and it's high in flavor, so it's like we're talking, you're getting everything taken care of right there.
So it's good for you in comparison to most of the food you can get in college dorms.
Most of the stuff you can get in college dorms, or most of the stuff that you get outside, which is pretty much prepackaged and pre-made, and it's not going to be as good tasting either. The other big deal tool for a college student is the rice cooker, especially because you can throw a pot of rice on in about 30 minutes or so, and all you need is the rice and the water, and you're done. And the other neat thing about it is that if you throw the vegetables and other quick-cooking lentils, quick-cooking split peas, stuff like that, you'll be good to go in about a half hour. You'll have a complete meal in one pot.
Nice. So when you say that, you throw the vegetables right in with the rice, or there's a little steam tray, or what?
You can use the steam tray if you want to, but I'm a little bit too lazy for that, just because it's aggravating and I can't be bothered. And especially if you're using brown rice, it stands up really well with extra water and stuff like that. You're not gonna notice it too badly. For example, what we did when we were in New York is on the first day there, I wanted something comforting, but I wanted something relatively quick. So Steve had brought along some spices, and he had brought some cumin, some dried chilies, and some sesame seeds, and some split yellow peas and some rice. I brought along my rice cooker. We threw everything in there with a bunch of water, some spinach, and some cashews, and just let that thing run through its cycle. And by the time it was done, it was really good. Actually, I have that up on the video cast.
Oh, nice. Do you travel with your rice cooker and all these herbs?
Oh, certainly. Why? Because when you're traveling, you're talking about spending a small fortune on just getting there, and then sometimes eating, you don't have any options, or it's so expensive that it's prohibitive.
Sure.
So rather than, counting on Subway's Veggie Delight or whatever the hell that thing is, if you bring your stuff with you, you can pretty much be guaranteed that you'll have a good meal anywhere you go.
Well, I think we need to have another one of these Dino segments with traveling tips.
Well, of course. But this one is especially good for college students since, supposing you just get home to your dorm at night and you're hungry, you want to eat something, but, you need to go take care of other stuff before you can sit down to eat. At the start of as soon as you walk in the door, you just dump all the ingredients into the rice cooker, get that thing started, go get showered, get changed, whatever. Then by the time you've finished with that, 30 minutes later, you've got a full meal waiting for you.
That's perfect. Any tips on where to find a cheap rice cooker?
I found that FreeCycle is really good for that. If your listeners are not familiar with FreeCycle, what it is that it's this national group in the United States where they have local chapters all over the place. And essentially what you do is you sign up to this Yahoo group that's local for you, and you can post stuff that you want to get rid of, and you can collect stuff from other people who posted their stuff, and it's pretty good about that. Other than that, if you go to your local thrift store or tag sale or, rummage sale or whatever, you can usually get one for about $5.
Perfect.
Not bad at all. So was there other things you want to talk about on the show today?
Definitely, your toaster oven, your rice cooker, your crock pot, those kinds of things. I mean, it may seem like you're having a lot of gadgets, but in the end, it's going to save you so much time that you'll actually find yourself using it, and it won't be like this sort of over-clutter thing that you're actually thinking it is, especially if you don't have a lot of time, and I don't think most of us have much time.
Yeah, and it's absolutely perfect, like you were explaining earlier, because you can go put everything in there, go do something else, write your paper, and come back and do it.
And come back, and everything's ready for you. And I've found myself doing that more and more often. Is that like I'll be ready to go to work, I'll just dump everything in the crock pot, turn it off, get out, and I'm done. So that by the time I get home, the whole entire house smells good, and I can eat something filling.
And you're not going to make junk instead of pre-prepared junk.
Fry up some pre-made stuff. The other thing is that if you have even less time, cheat and use frozen vegetables.
Good point.
I hate to say it, but you know what? It has to be said. Not everyone's going to have the time or the facilities to have, a big giant kitchen sink to, wash out your spinach in and, big cutting boards and knives and everything else. They've done the work for you. Use it.
I agree, and I was just reading in, I forget one of these books I was reading, I don't remember which basically says that, in terms of health, using frozen stuff isn't that much worse for you.
Right, exactly. And I would rather that you eat something frozen than not at all.
True.
Because you don't have the time or the facilities to put it together. I mean, just use it. Move on.
All right. Any other issues that you wanted to talk about for today? I can't remember.
I can't remember either, but as usual, yes, I'm getting a lot of spam in my Vegan Freak mailbox.
Uh-oh.
If you're specifically writing to me, write in big giant letters Dino in the subject so I know you're talking to me.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, but if I can see that it's specifically addressed to me, I'll know not to delete it. I almost did delete someone's. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
Gotta let you go, huh?
Yeah. No. It's his mother.
All right. Well, we'll let you roll, Dino. So.
Right. That's what I needed to bring up. Oh, I'm an idiot.
Go ahead.
Right. I know that you're going to have a lot of your listeners who are going to be going to visit their families for the holidays.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Yes, and that can be a really miserable proposition if you don't plan ahead. But knowing most of the listeners and myself, you're not going to plan ahead. Let's be honest with ourselves, because this is what we are.
Indeed.
As soon as you get into town, wherever it is that you're going, find the nearest grocery store and get in there and get yourself something that you can eat in terms of produce. And the first thing you want to buy is a can of chickpeas so that when you get back to that person's house, you can quickly throw together either a hummus or a dressing for the salad, because half the time I found is that, they'll have everything be vegan except for that dressing that goes on the salad or the topping that goes on the potato or, this is one stupid thing that'll make the meal miserable. You just bring that can of chickpeas with you and, you throw it in the blender with a little tiny bit of olive oil and some salt, and you're good to go. You have this really creamy dressing. You fill it out with water, obviously, but it becomes this creamy dressing that you can share with others, eat yourself, you're good to go. Also, if you have a lot of interesting looking produce on your plate, and it's not just the crappy garbage that they thought to buy, the canned peas and freaking, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they think a vegetable is like a potato, and if you want to get a salad, you get iceberg lettuce.
Mm.
And that's what you're going to be stuck with. So you know what? Knowing that that's probably what's going to end up happening, might as well just make a quick trip and avoid yourself headache later.
That's a good point. And plus, people love to drown all the side vegetables in butter, which is quite annoying.
Bingo. So if you at least have something that you picked up from the grocery store, it's not to be ungrateful, but to be look, I understand that you may not have known the kind of things I'm into, so I figured, I'd just grab some that everyone can share, and I'm going to eat it too, because I don't want to starve, you clueless moron. But if you do have time to plan ahead, definitely go on to VegWeb, because I've found that now people are starting to post their holiday recipes and stuff, and download those recipes and make them and take them with you.
Good idea.
It's the best advocacy is to take your food with you and show people it tastes good, it's easy to make, and when people ask you for the recipe, you give it to them and be really casual about it. Don't say, it's completely vegan, as in, you're trying to make a point of it, but rather give them the recipe and let them come to that realization later.
I like that idea. Culinary activism.
Especially when my book comes out, you can do culinary activism all the time.
We will have your book out. We're behind, but we'll get it out.
Of course.
We will.
Excellent.
But there you go. So I think we covered more or less everything.
I think so.
Final thing.
Oh, what do you do? I have a question for you.
Yes.
What are you doing for Thanksgiving?
Steve and I are staying at home, and we're just going to chill.
Well, what are you making, though?
It depends on what mood strikes me that day. We're probably going to be getting together with Sherbs from the forums and Delaney on the day after. Because that's when she's coming down from New Jersey to, hang out with her family here. So she wants to have some freaky love. So if anyone's in Florida, contact us and come hang with us.
Cool.
Excellent.
Was there one last thing you were going to mention?
Yes, OmniSubs. Yeah, I'm still not kidding. I'm really not kidding when I say I don't know what to do with them. Stop asking me about them.
Oh, stop being such a diva.
I'm getting questions about things like fucking pumpkin pie and, scones.
Wait. Pumpkin pie is not an OmniSub.
No, but it's like all the recipes I'm seeing are like tofu this and soy milk that and blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? I'm the wrong person to ask. I didn't like it when I ate it before. If you have pumpkin, the only thing you should really be doing with it is chopping it into pieces, throwing it in your oven with some Italian seasoning, some olive oil, and letting it get all roasted and toasted, and maybe having it pureed as a soup after you finish roasting and toasting it. You should not be grinding it down, pouring a ton of sugar on it, and ugh.
Well, I don't like pumpkin pie either.
I can't stand the stuff.
I can't either, but Jenna likes it.
I can eat like a slice once a year.
I don't like
and that's the thing, is like, why are you going to sit there and take all this effort for something that you're going to have like once? I really can't be bothered.
Well, it's a tradition for a lot of people.
Oh, sure. Fuck their traditions. It's also traditions to kill. Anyway, I don't know what to do with tofu. I'm sorry. Wrong person. Try again.
Okay. Well, at some point, too, Dino, I hope you won't be upset. We're going to have Julie on the show as well, so people can ask Joy the tofu questions.
Yeah, well, her book is excellent so far.
Yeah, well, we got to get yours out first.
Of course. Like, we made her buttermilk biscuits this morning, and Steve had them, and he was like, oh, my God, I wish I had gravy, so I made country gravy to go with him. He was just in heaven.
Oh, that sounds really good.
Now I'm making you hungry again, as usual.
As usual. Well, I'm actually kind of full because I just ate like a shitload, a fuck ton of lentils, but...
You can never have too many lentils. What is it about lentils? Like, you can make like 5 pounds of this stuff and it disappears.
That's true.
That's true, because they're very tasty.
I think you don't feel how full you're getting from them until after you've eaten too many.
It's like our Omni friend came over here and we're all eating and eating and eating. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so full. And she goes, I'm so full too. And then I gave her a look, and she was like, yeah, I'm going back for seconds as well.
Cool. So on that note, Dino, why don't
feed yourselves, eat, drink, be merry.
Excellent. We'll call it to a close there. We appreciate your time, Dino.
Glad to be here.
All right. So that's Dino. You can email him at diva@veganfreak.com. Make sure you make the subject of your message clear so, he doesn't think it's just penis enlargement and Nigerian schemes.
Which may be fun in my spare time, but I want
penis enlargement you say for the weekends, right?
Right, exactly.
Cool. Thanks,
anyway,
Dino.
Take care, guys.
All right, bye. All right, thanks, Dino.
Yes, and we've been getting a lot of questions, like you said, about college students, and so there's some really good tips.
Absolutely. So that's it for this week's show, I think.
Yes,
Isn't that it?
I believe that is it.
That's it. We have to stop the show because the dogs are going insane.
It's their dinner time, and
well,
they get antsy.
I don't care, but it's frustrating. So, I know they're hungry. I love the dogs dearly, but there are times they drive me crazy. Like last week when we talked to Dr. Greger on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
They were going bonkers.
Yes. But we will have an interview with Dr. Greger.
That's right. Next week we're going to have an interview with Dr. Greger. He wrote a book called Bird Flu, a virus of our own hatching. Mm-hmm. So we talked to him very briefly about his book, Bird Flu. We'll have him on the show next week with that interview.
Yep. And more of our vegan freak goodness.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe we'll be a little less scattered next week. I will hopefully be a little less scattered.
We're on vacation, so
I know.
Our brain goes into like vacation mode.
I also think we need to do the show weekly because I get rusty.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, you're right.
It's really tough to just talk extemporaneously off the top of your head for a long time, and I get rusty. So
yeah, well, we'll have one out next week.
Yeah, we will.
So hopefully everybody will survive Dead Turkey Day.
Yeah, good luck with that. Let us call in with stories about your Dead Turkey Day.
Yeah.
Okay, I talked about that in class once, and everybody's like, ew, you called it Dead Bird Day. And I'm like, well. There's another vegan in the class, and she was laughing with me. Anyway, have a good week. We'll be in touch soon. Be in touch with us. And we'll be back again with another show next week on Vegan Freak Radio.
Bye.